Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Idle Zone Syndicate.
That's what I'm talking about, Jack.
That's my lame attempt at being cool in lieu of theme music and introductions.
We do need to get some theme music though.
We do. Maybe I'll enlist the aid of one of these techie young people that can hook us up with that kind of stuff.
It might be time to Google theme music for idiots or something, Danny. No pun intended. No pun intended. Just saying.
Well, I'm thinking that if I had listened to Kyle Crank, who told me to buy a cheap soundboard before we started this, then we'd already be there. But I didn't do that. So away we go.
We'll get there.
So in the world of the four corners, guys, what was last weekend? Derby wise.
There was a Fairland High School fundraiser tournament down here that I really haven't heard what happened. Let's see if I can find something. And there was I guess a USA Bassin that maybe Mac was fishing or something. I don't know how they did either because it's hard to find anything on that stuff.
I hear you. It was pretty quiet in the Book of Face, that's for sure.
I know Alex Torkelson fished it, and he stayed here. But I'm looking at his Facebook page, and I don't see anything. So he must either didn't do well or just hasn't posted yet.
It was plenty warm, I can tell you that.
It was warm. I did go fishing. I went fishing. I went fishing Saturday morning. I was gonna go Friday, and I just didn't get around to it. And I went Saturday morning, and it was hot, and the wind was blowing pretty hard, and they weren't pulling any current. And I caught 3 fish: a smallmouth, a largemouth, and a spotted bass.
Wow.
None of them were very big. Oh, and I did catch 10 white bass that started schooling around me. But I thought that was pretty cool. First fish of the day was a smallmouth, and first one I'd caught on Grand. And it was a typical, like a Kansas smallmouth, like a long and skinny and, not, when I think smallmouth, I think Minnesota and, New York and footballs, 5-pound footballs, and they're just built different. The kind of like the spotted bass. The spotted bass in this area are built different than the spotted bass in Alabama. They're like a different strain. They're kind of long torpedoes type things. I know they get big. The smallmouth get good up, Milford and Wilson and Melbourne and so forth, but they're different than the northern smallmouth. But I thought that was pretty cool. But I was trying to figure out something because I wanted to start fishing these Saturday night. They got a Saturday night derby every Saturday night out of Wolf Creek from 7 to 12:30, and I wanted to fish that. So I'm just wanted to kind of see what the fish were doing, and I didn't learn anything. But I did fish it, and did pretty well, but should have done better. I pulled up on my first spot and threw my Carolina rig out there, and about the third cast hooked one that was probably 4 pounds or better, and he jumped twice, and I got it all the way to the boat, and it jumped again and broke my line because I did not retie after my morning session. So that was my fault. And it's been a while since I Carolina rigged a lot, so I was, I YouTubed a bunch and different ideas and what people were doing nowadays, and I had braid on, and I watched a YouTube video from Mark Davis that said, do not use braid, because apparently it cuts easier on the rocks and stuff that you're dragging it through than fluorocarbon does. So I had braid on, and sure enough, it broke, at the braid. It didn't break on my leader. It broke at the braid, above the swivel. And it was new braid. I mean, the braid was not old. It was fairly new braid. And so I sat down, stripped it all off, put on some 20-pound fluorocarbon and some 14-pound mono, and hooked it back up, and I caught 9 more pounds of fish on 3 fish on. I caught a 4-pounder, 1 over 4, about 4.5, and then another 3 and a 2 on the Carolina rig. I had like 8.5 pounds or something like that, and it took 13 to win. So if I'd have had that first 4-pounder, I'd have been right there. So,
John, are you using
my bad.
Are you using tungsten? Are you using tungsten on that Carolina rig?
So I am using, it's another something I picked up on YouTube from Matt Steffen. He throws one of those long kind of, it's got a bend in it that the walleye guys throw.
Yeah.
It's the same deal.
Already pre-rigged?
No, not pre-rigged.
It's not?
Just the weight. It's a weight.
Oh, okay. Yeah, the cylinder weights.
It's got a little bend. It's not a cylinder weight either. It's like the walleye guys use them. And he said they come through the rocks a lot better, and Danny's trying to keep it quiet, like Matt Steffen's video is out there.
Because I win so much money. I mean,
that's what I've been using.
It's a Lindy rig sinker.
Yeah, Lindy rig.
That's what I couldn't think of the name of it. I knew what you were talking about.
It takes a little getting used to throw because it's dangling down there a little bit, but it definitely doesn't get hung up as much as like a tungsten. I don't think you feel as much with it.
Well, that was the next question is.
It's different. It's different. Like if you use a tungsten weight or a brass weight, I think you do feel what's down there a little better. Because those Lindy rigs they're coated with like a plastic, and I don't know if that has something to do with it. And they're really not. They're pretty loose on your line, so I don't think you feel as good with it as you do, or maybe that's just the braid, the difference in the braid too. But anyway, that's what I was doing, and and I will probably do that again Saturday night.
I was just wondering, I've been kind of playing around with tungsten a little bit, but it's so hard and it's crashing into the rocks. We've kind of been experiencing a little bit of issues with it cracking the glass beads and nicking the line. So
the other thing that he does is uses a bobber stop,
yeah,
a rubber
protect
bobber
it.
stop, and the Lindy rig, the loop that is on the end of the Lindy rig that you put your line through is pretty big. So I don't think it's crashing into the beads as much as like a regular weight. And the other thing Mark Davis said is don't use glass beads, period. He doesn't use glass beads because they break and then they cut your line. And I had already bought all my beads, so all I have is glass beads, and that could be what happened on the first fish, but
I definitely agree with you as far as Mark Davis's Carolina rig setup. He pretty much pieces it together, just perfectly on his video. And I don't know how many years ago that was posted, but he did an outstanding job. And I have personally watched him on Table Rock Carolina rig for probably 12 to 15 hours total. I watched him almost win an Elite Series down there.
I've told you the Carolina rig story, right?
With Davis?
No.
Oh,
With me. I can honestly say, and I truly believe this is fact, that I was the first person in Kansas to throw the Carolina rig.
Oh my God! When Moody gets on here in a minute, you're going to have an argument on the chat.
There's no way, Moody. There's no way that Moody has. There's no way. Because I learned it from Basil Bacon.
That's pretty cool.
So here's the Carolina rig story. This was
when I was before I was a twinkle in my mom and dad's eye.
I don't know how old you are, but this was, I'm going to say, 30 years ago.
Oh, okay. So I was at least going to the bathroom in my Huggies on the lake anyhow.
I don't know. Kansas hosted the regional on Truman. And I was not president. I was before I was president. I believe that either I think, what was the black guy's name?
Leroy Butler.
I think Leroy was the president. It may have been before Leroy. Anyway, I wasn't the president. I was helping Frank with tournaments, I think. But I was on the board and I went. And it was one of them summers where the lake was high all year. And we were out of Bucksall. And this is back when Zimbabwe came to the tournaments and Bass Pro, back when it was top six boaters and 6 non-boaters, and Zimbabwe came and Bass Pro Shop gave them all, supplied their boats, their 6 boaters boats, and Jerry Eusta was on the team, and Jerry was staying with Basil Bacon, and Basil at the meeting told me that Jerry was doing this new technique and I got to see it, and that he's catching fish out of the Bucksall they had a big chain linked in, fenced in parking lot up above the bunkhouse. And the water was up in that parking lot. And he said, Jerry's fishing right around the corner from takeoff. So after takeoff, we're going to go sit on a bench on this on the bunkhouse, and we'll be able to see Jerry fishing. So they take off, and Jerry goes around behind the bunkhouse, and he starts heaving this thing, god awful thing,
Catfish rig
over the fence, and he's fishing, and you know the fence is underwater, but I know there's a fence there, and he's throwing it over the fence. And Basil is saying there's a rock pile, you know, the gravel pile inside the parking lot, you know, that they use to fill potholes and stuff. There's a gravel pile in there, and he's fishing that gravel pile, and he's bringing this Carolina rig over this rock pile. And here's the components of it. And he broke it down. He told me how to rig it. And we watched Jerry on the day one of the tournament catch 17 or 18 pounds of fish in like 10 minutes.
Wow.
On this thing. And he did it every day. And I think he won. He didn't win the tournament, I don't think, but he finished up there and, you know, went to the nationals and all that. So the very next week, Kansas is holding their Mr. Bass on Hillsdale. And so I'm like, I'm going to catch me some fish on this Carolina rig thing. I'm going to learn it. So this is back when you brought an observer with you, and my observer, I believe, was Doc Bond. Because I was in the Salina Club, and I was fishing the tournament. I was club champion, and I was fishing. And so I went to Hillsdale. Doc was not there yet. He was meeting me there. So this was like a Friday. I don't know if the tournament was on Saturday or Sunday, but on the pre-fish day, I went and I was waiting on Doc, and he wasn't there yet. So I put the boat in and I ran straight across. If you're familiar with Hillsdale, you go straight across from the boat ramp. There's a road bed over there. So I go over there to that road bed, and I throw this Carolina rig up there and bring it back a few times, and I kind of think I'm getting bit, but you really don't understand what you're feeling until you catch a fish. So about the fifth or sixth cast, I catch an 18-inch fish on that Carolina rig. And like I knew what I was feeling, I knew what I'm looking for, you know, all that good stuff. And I throw up there again, and I catch another one. Hillsdale's an 18-inch lake. I catch another 18-inch fish. I throw up there, and I catch another 18-inch fish. And I'm like, wow, this is pretty cool. So I run around a couple other points and road beds, and I catch fish everywhere I go on that Carolina rig. I go back, I pick Doc up. I'm like, you're not going to believe this. And I show him what I'm doing, and we catch some fish doing it, and he's like amazed at this thing. Well, I'm rooming with, maybe it wasn't Doc. I think it must have been somebody else. It might have been Anthony. I don't remember if you know Anthony, but anyway, I don't remember who it was. Anyway, so I'm rooming with Jeff Waters, and Jeff was there pre-fishing too. So we get back to the hotel, and he's talking about how he caught fish everywhere he went. He's flipping a jig, and I'm telling him I caught fish everywhere I went on this Carolina rig thing. And so we're both pretty confident one of us is going to win this tournament. And so the next day, tournament day, I draw Kerry Krupp's observer. And Kerry Krupp is Mr. Hillsdale at the time. And so I draw Kerry Krupp's observer. You know, we're all looking out for Kerry. He's going to win this thing probably if we don't. So anyway, so I run across to this boat, this roadbed, and I throw up there and I catch an 18-incher on the first cast. And then I catch another one on the second cast. And then I catch another one on the third cast. And this kid that's Kerry's observer, first of all, he's sick. He was like, I don't know if he was hungover or he was just sick. And I was like, are you sure you want to go? He's like, yeah, I want to go. And I said, I'm not going that far. So if you get where you want out, I'll take you back to the ramp and we'll get Doc Bond or somebody to come with us or whatever. And so we're over there, and after I catch my third fish, he's like, you're freaking awesome. And I'm like, well, I'm just this new thing that I'm throwing. I don't know that much about it, but it's, you know, it's working. So I catch 4 or 5 more, but they're not keepers. I got 3 in the live well, and all of them on this roadbed in like the first half an hour. And then, so I decided to let it rest. I said, I'm going to make a run. I got this big tree in the mouth of one of these creeks that I shook a fish off of. I want to go flip it, and then I'm going to give this a rest, and then we'll come back. So we run, 15-minute run, go over there to this big tree. I make one flip in there and catch a 5-pounder, throw it in the box. And the guy, now he thinks I'm the fishing god. He's like, Kerry Krupp doesn't have anything on you. This is awesome. So then we run back to the roadbed, and I throw up there, and I catch another 5-pounder. So I've got like 18 pounds in the live well. The first 3 fish were 18-inchers, but they were like 2.5 pounders. They were kind of skinny, whatever. So I had like 18 pounds on 5 fish in the live well. And I throw up there, and I bring it back, and I hook one, and it jumps, and it's a big one. 5 or 6 pounds, and it jumps and comes off. Or jumps and breaks off, I think. And then, so I have another, so I lay down my rod, and this is back in the day when this isn't against the rules. He asked me if I want him to retie that for me while I fish. I'm like, sure. So I tell him how to do it, and while I'm fishing, while I'm throwing like a salt crawl around, and he's retying this Carolina rig. And so he gets it done. I pick it back up. I throw out there. I hook a fish, and I'm bringing it back, and it's a big, big one, like 6 or 7 pounds. And it jumps once, jumps twice, and then it breaks. And the kid was sick. They literally starts puking over the side and apologizing and all that. And I'm like, it's not on you. I mean, I'm the one that asked you to retie it. And, this is totally on me. And so we go on, and I catch another fish. I cull like once, and the rest of the day, he's like, man, I hope that fish doesn't cost you the tournament, blah, blah, blah. So we come in, and Kerry comes rolling in, and Kerry says he's got an 8-pounder. And I'm like, seriously, dude, 8-pounder? And he's like, yep, got an 8-pounder. But he only had 3 fish. So I think he ended up with like 13 pounds. But he did have an 8-pounder. It was like big bass, 8 pounds. And then Jeff comes in, and we're floating around out there, and Jeff's like, I'm like, well, how much you got? He's like, I got like 19 pounds on 4 fish. And I thought I had like 19 pounds on 5 fish. So Jeff weighs in second to the last, and he's got like 19 even, or maybe a little less. I weigh my fish in, and I have 19 and a half or 19.3 or something, and I win the tournament. So that's how I learned it. So the next weekend, we have a club tournament at Wilson. And I draw this guy, I think Jody and I fish together. And I'm like, I'm going to throw this Carolina rig, and I'm going to catch some fish. And he literally laughed at me.
What time of year was it?
Spring, like April or May sometime.
Yeah.
And literally laughed at me. And I threw it, and I caught fish after fish after fish. And then it spread. Everybody started throwing it, in the Salina Club, and then I wasn't around Grand Lake area, but I know there was nobody had ever heard of it that was at Truman until Jerry Eustace showed everybody. And I know nobody in the Salina, Hayes, any of those clubs, Junction City, Topeka, none of those guys threw it. So I can't speak to Grand Lake down here, but you would have thought that if somebody was using it down here at that time, that people would have been using it. But
when I was younger, it was, my version of it was almost like a mojo rig or split shot rig, whatever you want to call it,
Yeah.
Just because we were always around the smallmouth fishing quite a bit, and you could really catch them. You just put a little French fry on Zoom French fry or a little trick worm or something like that, and just drag it around with a spinning rod and just have a ball.
The old Zoom Fish Doctor.
Fish Doctor was a good one.
That's my bait.
Yeah, I mean, the French fry and the Fish Doctor, you could take it about anywhere and just get a bite.
Yeah.
Table Rock, you can go catch 100 spotted bass a day on the daggum thing.
Yeah.
Big Hill, you could always catch smallmouth on it. It didn't matter. Just go fish it on a point or little pea gravel or something like that, or around that sandy beach area and catch a smallmouth, and it was a blast. And then for me, it kind of evolved a little bit into obviously a little bit heavier action rod, bait caster, and then, I call it the ball and chain just because it's kind of looks like a ball and chain to me.
Yeah, it's kind of what it is.
The aggravation of it always for me was it was always, you're tying 3 knots.
Yeah.
And 3 times you can make a mistake, right? And then it's always, do I use fluorocarbon? Well, back then it wasn't. It was big game to big game.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And now it's like, okay, so fluorocarbon mainline to a mono leader, or fluorocarbon, or do I use lead? Do I pour my own sinkers? Do I do that? Oh my gosh. So I've actually simplified mine. It's just straight fluorocarbon all the way through, tungsten sinkers. I usually use just a regular old 1/2 ounce or 3/4 ounce flipping weight tungsten sinker,
Mm-hmm.
and a smaller I use the Spro barrel swivels because I really like the little power swivels. They tend to hold up pretty good. And I actually use a couple bobber stoppers to protect my knot.
Yeah.
So that way, when that stuff goes to bouncing around down there, that it's kind of more protected. For the
Yeah.
most part, I think I have decent luck. But I think there's also a time for, like a swing head style also. And the swing head come out, with Tommy Biffle, yada, yada, yada. And I think there's a time and a place for both of them.
Oh, yeah.
The way we do it when we're team fishing is one guy kind of likes to throw one and the other guy kind of likes to throw the other. And whoever's getting bit on what, you just kind of change up as you go, But
Yeah.
Carolina rig is a big fish getter. It's unbelievable.
I just hate how, like you said, it takes, I hate how long it takes, like the other night when I decided to strip it all off and put the fluorocarbon on, even after I got it stripped off and the fluorocarbon on, you're still sitting there for 3 or 4 or 5 minutes retying all your knots and your little swivel and making sure everything's right. And I can't see, especially at dark, and I can't see. And so,
and then
if I'm really catching them on a Carolina rig, I will have two.
Yeah.
Set up, ready to go.
And then it's
I will have Saturday night because I learned my lesson this last Saturday.
The knot that I tie, it requires you to spin the bait, the tag end essentially, around the knot. And with a Carolina rig, you almost have to tie the leader. You almost have to tie the hook and the lure on the leader before you tie the leader on the barrel swivel to the main line to get all the knots, because I cannot stand a Palomar. I'll argue it with anybody. I've broken off more Palomar knots than I'll ever shake a stick at, and I'll never throw another bait with a Palomar knot on it ever again. And I'm sorry that, that's the knot that everybody tied back in the day, and it was the quickest and most efficient and yada, 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 but I'll never do it. Anyhow, the knot that I tie, it just, 3 knots, it's time consuming. So I agree, 2 rods, both ball and chains, maybe a different weight on one or the other, but that's about it.
Yeah.
Hey, John, look what Eric Fortner commented over there.
I got to turn on the comments.
Whoops. Oh, yeah. You need the comments because Moody's on there twice already.
88 is after. 88 is after we're talking. After what I'm talking about.
So, yeah, Eric says get a pool noodle and rig up a bunch of spare hooks and a swivel.
Oh, yeah, rig up a bunch of leaders. Take a pool noodle and wrap around.
Yeah. That's a good idea.
The ball and chain. It's one of those lures that I will admit has withstood the test of time and will probably be something that is a mainstay in a lot of anglers' boats for a lot of years.
I think it went away for a little while in some areas. It may not have around here, but I'll tell you, nobody throws it in Alabama, or they didn't. Like when I lived there, nobody throws the Carolina rig.
That's crazy.
Once in a while. And I didn't throw it. I didn't throw it at all when I lived there until I came back here. Now I'm throwing it again.
And it's funny, just, you go to a Tennessee river that has hard spots close to a river channel, and you're fishing ledges in the summertime, and I mean, you would think it'd be prime,
Yeah. I'm sure people use it, but I like nobody in the club I was in was throwing it.
Yeah.
But
so did you see the Did you see the latest and greatest on the Elite Series? Kobe Krieger did
Oh,
the
yeah. Yeah.
turned himself in because he thought he screwed up the dates and he practiced one day too late before the cutoff.
Yeah.
That was a pretty stand-up move.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, they disqualified him, but I mean, at least he's got a clear conscience at this point.
Yeah.
And they're going to Smith Lake. I think day one starts tomorrow. That ought to be an interesting deal. Alabama fishery, middle of summertime, full of spotted bass.
Close
They got
to
any dirty
Jasper.
water on it, John?
Huh?
Do they have any dirty water?
Yes.
Think there might be some largemouth play the first couple days.
Maybe. Somebody will catch. Whoever catches one good largemouth a day is going to be in pretty good shape, I think.
What's it going to take to win?
Uh,
15, 16 a day or less than that? I mean, I'm kind of stupid when it comes to Smith Lake. I haven't really seen a whole lot of footage on it. I tried to do a little research, and it looks like a highland reservoir, like what we have around here.
It is. It's kind of like Table Rock, or I would say, if I was guessing, man, I would say probably 50 pounds, maybe 52.
Ooh, wow. 12, 13 a day. Maybe a little bit
The
more.
winter's going to have probably 14, average 14 a day, maybe.
Wow. Be a live scope of paradise, probably.
Yes.
Well,
Yeah.
gonna see that rookie class probably play a little bit then.
Yeah, I think so.
And then we saw an open wrap up, and that was an interesting last day for a young angler. You know, catching literally just like a ghost 8-pounder and on a spinning rod, just
Crazy.
Oh,
wow. You follow Oklahoma. I mean, come on.
8-12.
That was a freaking stud, man.
Yeah.
I mean, what did that fish weigh 2 months ago?
Yeah, really, 10 pounds.
Yeah. I mean, Easton's a good kid. He stayed here for his classic practice, pre-practice, and then he stayed here on the official practice. Well, he came down like over Thanksgiving and fished, and then he stayed again the week, 3 days pre-practice of the classic. And I guess he stayed here all week, and his parents stayed here. So good family. Of course, he won the bracket on Milford. So that was a pretty cool deal. Yeah, he's pretty much wrapped up. I believe he's wrapped up a spot to the elites. I mean, he's got like 3 or 4 tournaments left. He's going to have to bomb. I mean, he's leading. He's really going to have to bomb to not make the elites. So I think he'll probably make it.
Yeah, it was a pretty interesting fish catch. I'll say that. That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And even just the non-fishing aspect of this. A year ago at this time, that kid was having brain surgery.
Yeah.
That's crazy to me.
Yeah.
That's just he just barely got medically cleared to fish that bracket at Milford.
Yep.
And
I
then he won.
actually do remember. I remember hearing that, Danny. That is pretty amazing. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, he fished the the college championship and got to feeling bad after the championship. He ended up having a little tumor thing and had surgery, brain surgery.
Wow.
Good kid though. His dog sheds a lot though.
I wondered if you were going to mention that.
A lot.
Shout out to the cleaning crew at Grand Lake Lodge, huh?
Those sheets went in the trash. That's how much he shed. I mean, it was bad.
Put me in the opposite room. Maybe this nose issue will go away.
Crazy.
It was fun for me watching that Open Saturday, that final day. I had been following it, and I knew that he was close to making the cut, so I started watching it on Sunday morning or Saturday morning, and went, "Oh, that's Connor." Well, that Connor Jacob that got third was my first day partner at Muskogee. Cool kid, really cool kid. Now he's the reason my back still hurts, but for that run to Kerr and back, or across Kerr and back to 300 miles, where it felt like 300 miles. Well, it was 190 miles straight up and down.
Yeah.
But yeah,
3 feet at a time, huh?
6-7 feet at a time.
Well, at least you're alive to tell us the story.
Oh, no kidding. Oh, it makes for a great story. Great memory. And super nice kid.
That kind of reminds me of my Toledo Bend day one of the Bass Regional story, where I drew that guy from Mississippi, and great big old nice guy, and he throws these rods in the boat, and John starts hollering boat numbers, and they got the music blaring, and I'm sitting there going, we're in the back of that pocket at Cypress, and I was looking at the flag on the tip of that dock, and it was just blowing straight out of the north at probably 20 something, John? I don't know. Heavy. And the old boy from Mississippi goes, hey kid, you got one of these? And he pulls it out of underneath the passenger side console. It's a white motorcycle helmet with a visor on it. And I said, no, I got some goggles, And he said, where are we headed anyhow? So we're going to head across over there on the Texas side and fishing down by 6 Mile, and then just kind of fish along that in that pocket in that big bay there, and yada yada yada. And he goes, good luck. He flips his visor down. I didn't talk to him for about 45 minutes because it took at least that to get over there. And anybody that doesn't know what Toledo Bend looks like, it's full of timber. It's full of big monster swells. And if you're from southeast Kansas, you better stay from buoy to buoy when you're navigating. And luckily, I'd made a trail from Cypress to 6 Mile and Housen, both. And boy, that was outstanding. We get over there, I shut the boat down, and I'm throwing a swim jig and a swim bait and some lilies and stuff. And I didn't have the right tackle, I can tell you that. But this guy in the back of the boat from Mississippi pulls out this looked like a freaking shark rod, 2x4 with. He said it had 65-pound braid on it. That was a 3/4 ounce white swim jig. And I think his reel was like 7 to 5 to 1. And he freaking just absolutely just sends that white swim jig sailing. It hits the water and he starts working it immediately. Just pop, 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 pop. And I mean, a 5-pounder comes out of those lilies and just, I thought it was Shark in the Lilies finally gets a hold of his jig, and he sets the hook too early and biffs it. And I was like, I looked back and I said, you got any more of them swim jigs? And can you teach me a little bit here? Because I'm not even to my primary spot yet. I'm just kind of working down the bank, you know. And oh yeah, you know, blah blah. And holy cow, it was outstanding. But white knuckled and pale and breathing heavy the whole way there. Just glad that I got to fish the tournament and didn't sink. I think there was 2 boats the first day that decided to go north and didn't make it a mile.
Yeah, we had a couple that went down that tournament.
So
it was not good.
Toledo Bend, home of the biggins, but
yeah.
And I think that tournament there was a lot of fish spawning. I found some fish spawning in some pockets, and because it was like it was the 1st of April, I think, late February, early April, or early. I don't remember. It was either maybe that one was in February, and the Gunnersville tournament I fished was in April, but. Cypress trees don't have leaves. I learned that. Instead, they're snakes and they're black, and they scared me to death. And the water's warmer down there earlier in the year. I figured that out.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of cool. We fished a lot of spawning fish, and then we come back to Kansas and we picked up our jerkbait rods. So I think that was in February. But enough about that. It was a fun time. I'm just glad I didn't die.
Yeah. Yeah, it was good.
300 and some boats, and now things have changed in the Bass Nation world. Which, Danny, team series yesterday was the last day to sign up. Is that correct?
No,
Not correct.
that is not correct.
What was that announcement I saw yesterday?
How many people were in the clubs?
Yeah. Oh, I still have my chalkboard from this afternoon on my What's Up Wednesday. Dues deadlines. To fish the team series, August 16th. To fish qualifier, August 31st. Now, dadgummit, they should have paid their dues already, but you know how. We understand. It's all good. So rapidly changing the subject to literally anything else. So the KBN kayakers were at Cedar Bluff last weekend. They set some kind of record, from what I understand, on because they go by total length. One guy had like a 95-inch day. So if you divide 95 by 5, you get what, about a 19-inch average?
Nice.
Yeah, in the Yak.
Nice.
Can you imagine? White capping Cedar Bluff, and you're dodging timber and waves, and you're being drug around by a 4 or 5 pounder. That would have been a hoot. That would have been a good time. Hayes goes back out there this weekend. The Hayes Team Trail, 29th and 30th there at Cedar Bluff. You guys go to Future Bass, is that correct?
Future Bass. Yeah, it's going to be an interesting weekend for me. There's a tournament on Saturday, and then there is another Future Bass tournament on Sunday. So we're staying at the Lake Lodge. We're going to at least get to see John for a few minutes because I guess apparently he's fishing Saturday night. So dinner's out. Yeah, go down there and see what we can do.
Cool.
I don't think it's going to be a complete scorcher like what I was anticipating.
Supposed to get some
Last-
storms, I think.
Last weekend, wow, I think the heat actually kind of got to me just a little bit, but
It was hot.
today, we got a couple inches of rain here in Arma, and it looks to me, I had a little birdie tell me that the Neosho River was actually up just a little bit. I think the lake's setting at about 0.2 or 0.3 above normal, 744.28 or something like that. I think there's some water coming in. Hopefully they keep the current turned on for the weekend and don't shut it off. That's kind of the hopes.
I mean, it was on Saturday night. It was not on Saturday morning.
Yeah, and I'd heard that the fishing was just a little bit on the terrible side on Saturday, and
It was pretty good Saturday night.
yeah, once they try to turn it on.
I mean, everybody that, I thought I had a decent bag with 8.5 on 3 fish or whatever. And I wasn't even, it took 13 something to win it, which is lower than it's been taken on 3 fish. But I think there was a lot between 10 and 13 pounds. There was a lot of teams. There was 20 boats.
It's kind of interesting, those little green fish, how smart they are. They know when when the water gets turned on that it's time to put the feed back going.
Yeah.
Did you notice any big gizzards around where you were at?
No. There was a lot of bait around where I was at. A lot of bait. But I sat down on that point and caught and broke off that 4-pounder, and I pretty much never left the rest of the
Yeah, just set the boat and just fished.
Yeah.
It's probably what I'd have done too. I mean, you had the opportunity to catch a decent bass, and you only got a couple hours left. You might as well, So,
Yeah.
how many boats is in that Saturday night tournament, John?
There was 20. They usually get between 20 and 30 boats.
It's just amazing to me, Grand Lake, that it just does not get any rest whatsoever, and the fish just don't stop biting. I guess it's just magic.
I was thinking the opposite, that I can't believe there's as few tournaments on like little jackpots as there are. Because when I lived in Alabama, I could fish a tournament on Logan Martin, my favorite lake, every day of the week.
Golly.
Every day. A little, 6 to 9, 6 to 10 on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday. You could fish 2. You could fish 2 on Saturday. You could fish
Wow.
a daylight to 1 and then come back and fish a 6 to midnight on Saturday.
Give it some rest.
Probably guys that did that too.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I did it before. If I was caught them, if I was on them.
Mm-hmm.
So I was, there's a Monday nighter here and a Thursday nighter here that all the big sticks fish, which kind of sucks, because the general guys, you're kind of just throwing your money away on Monday and Thursday night. I mean, unless you just really got to enjoy tournament fishing. And I'm going to fish some of them.
Unless you're Doug Johnson or Stephen Weitzel, is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah. Toby, the Saturday night ones, I think has some pretty good fishermen in it too, but I think there's the guy that runs it is from Missouri, like Granby or somewhere. So I think there's quite a few Missouri guys that come over and fish it Saturday night that It's almost like a club. It's almost like a club, but they let anybody fish. But I didn't see any of the big guns Saturday night. But I mean, they're catching. I don't think if Doug and Steven fished Monday, they didn't win because their picture wasn't up there. But I got a feeling they didn't fish. But it's been taking 13 or 14 on the Monday and Thursday nighters, 3 fish to win that.
You know, there's some teams in the past down there that when they started catching them, it's like they did not stop.
Yeah.
Almost to the point where you thought, how in the world are they not doing anything but cheating?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was incredible. You know, Diffie, Smith, Head Carrier, Warren Pilcher. I mean, those teams were unstoppable in their primes, right? You know, and
are they around?
Head and Carrier, I can't speak for those guys because I haven't seen them. Paul Smith and Wayne Diffie, they're still beating people like drums. Kurt Warren and John Pilcher, I think they're still around. Maybe forward-facing sonar kind of got on some of their stuff. I don't know. I think they're definitely doing something different than a lot of people. But Head and Carrier, you know, we talked about the ball and chain deal. I mean, they fished offshore a lot.
Yeah, they were the deal back in the day. Before
I think a culmination of, you know, side imaging, 3D down imaging, and then forward-facing sonar here recently. And then, you know, I'm not going to say those guys aren't too old to fish, but I think a little bit of older age kind of caught up to those guys. But, I mean, I think that pretty much put a damper on some of those guys' spots.
Yeah.
You know, GPS, waypoints. You see the same Ranger boat with the same 7-foot tall guy in the front wailing on them every weekend. People kind of get smart after a while, you know. I mean, I don't know how many times I drove by those guys fishing in the middle of the lake out in front of Goat Island, and you're just sitting there wondering, you know, this topo map that I have does not necessarily show a hump out there, but I know there's one somewhere. Yeah. But the modern day assassins, I mean, they got a number down there. They got pets or something, you know. I mean, it's pretty incredible what they can do right now.
Yeah.
Them two that I just mentioned not too long ago, they're catching them right now, like seriously catching them. And I mean, if you don't have an average of if you're practicing for a tournament right now and you're not catching 4-pounders, you're donating.
Yeah.
It's pretty. I mean, that's. I don't know how much more of a bass factor you want to live at, but
yeah, you definitely have to have 4-pound average to do any good down here right now.
That drew a comment. What's that one?
Moody says, Kyle, you had the wrong map.
Well, probably so. It was definitely the wrong map, I'll tell you that. First, I unfortunately live far enough away that I wasn't able to spend every waking moment down there like I probably should have. But
yeah, the mapping is definitely, from when I lived here and till now when I come back, is, you know, I'm fishing a lot of stuff I never fished before.
Yeah, the technology and I think some of the pros that I've paid attention to are doing it right. In my opinion, they're fishing with multiple brands of electronics. Because I'm a Lowrance guy, and it is what it is. But I think there's perks to having all three, and maybe those pros are they're so good at what they can see that maybe the little subtle nuances between the Garmins, the Humminbird, and the Lowrance, even just the mapping,
Yeah, I mean, there's differences in each. There's differences in each. Each of them have their strong suits. So the Humminbird, from what I gather from all the professional anglers, is better mapping. The Lowrance is better processing. So when you're running across the lake, it's faster. It updates faster. It's actually true to where you're like these guys use the Lowrance when they're running around.
Yeah.
They use their Humminbirds when they're idling around and mapping and is more defined. Stuff
Another
like that.
Humminbird side imaging is just as clear as a whistle.
Yeah,
it's incredible.
And the Garmin is, they on the live scope. Of course, they were the beginners, the leaders in that. And from what I'm told, I don't have both, so I don't know, but like the up close live scope stuff is better with the Garmin, but the farther away you are, the Lowrance is better.
Well, I definitely saw a screenshot of Scott Martin's quote, got to get a tune-up before Smith Lake, and put a screenshot up of his Garmin forward-facing screen. And I was like, whoever did your tune-up did a dadgum good job, because that sucker was clear.
Yeah.
So
We're going to have Moody back on. That's all there is to it.
is he full of it tonight?
Well, he's leading the comment contest.
No, Alan Head, that's true, though. I mean, what he's saying. But, again, that was when all this other stuff made it easier to do what Alan Head was doing with the flasher.
Yep. I mean, he's a Grand Lake legend. There's no doubt. He earned it. He was kicking my teeth in immediately when I started fishing down there competitively.
Where'd he have 11.5? Here? On Sunday? Moody?
Must be.
Mark and Scott had 11.5 in a tournament on Sunday.
They fished that. Was that the USA Bassin or was that the Fairland thing?
No, they fished that benefit tournament, the Fairland High School benefit.
Take 20 to win it?
He's going to have to speak up because I'm not sure.
Moody?
Now he's not gonna. See, I called him out, so now he's not doing it.
I mean,
Not going to say a word.
I mean, I talked to Alex because, like I said, he stayed here, and
15-7 to win.
yeah, he didn't have a good practice because he said the water was off. The water was shut off, and he's like, when it's shut off, it's tough.
Yeah.
And so, obviously, it was on. It was on Saturday night because when I had my boat on spot lock, the wind was blowing me the wind was blowing like upriver, but my boat was pointed upriver, which means the current was pushing, harder than the wind. Because it was nosing into the current. So
They were releasing 20. Come on, phone. Well, now it's not going to let me look at it. They were releasing like 12 and a half yesterday, 12,500 cubic feet per second. Today they're releasing. Currently, they're releasing 12.5 ish. So,
who runs the USA Basin, Moody? They're not on the permit list. Like, they didn't have a permit, apparently.
well, I heard there was only like 8 boats.
I mean, because nobody knows anything about it. I would probably fish something like that if I knew about it.
I heard there
Richard,
was
are you still watching?
I heard there was
Richard's
only like
responding?
7 or 8 boats, and the guy that I talked to that fished it was pretty disappointed.
Mac?
I know Richard Fitzwater won the USA Bass, and I will say that.
He was watching earlier.
I think he had, Richard, I'm sorry if I call this wrong, but I think he had somewhere around 13.
I think I did see that. Yeah,
Five
I
fish.
think I saw that.
5 fish limit. So they're not. I'm not going to speak about the tournament circuit because I don't know. But I didn't know you could weigh in a 5 fish bag at Grand Lake in late June.
Maybe they didn't worry about it because they didn't have a permit.
Like I said,
They're not on this permit list that I have, so I know who's coming into town this weekend. So this weekend we got Owasso Bass Club. They put on a Saturday nighter up at the dam every Saturday night. I'm not driving down there.
I guess my question is, if they don't have a permit, then they don't have to have their angler screenshot that added GRDA code thingy-majig that everybody's got to do now.
I guess not.
What about your jackpot, John? Do you guys have to take a picture of some special number?
Yep, they have a permit. It tells you how many fish you can catch. Of course, we were on a 3 fish limit. I don't know if that allows you to set your own or if you have to go with the 3 fish limit this time of year.
But you're also, when you enter that jackpot tournament, you're also getting that special code or whatever you have to take for the GRDA now.
It's a permit. I mean, it's a paper, and they just have you take a picture of it.
Okay.
I don't have my phone over here, but I'll show you. But yeah, so you apply for a permit. If you're on this list, you have a permit that tells you how many fish you can catch, having your live well, what the length limit allows you to be, because you can only have one over 16 inches on Grand Lake anytime unless you have a permit. So when you have that allows you to have more than one. It's kind of like a bass pass. It allows you to have more than one over 16 in your live well, and then it tells you what your limit is. And it tells you, it has the times of the tournament on there. And most of these tournament trails just have you take a picture of it when you check in. So you got it on your phone. So I don't know. Owasso Bass Club this weekend, Future Bass the 29th, Grand Lake Bass Club the evening of the 29th. That's that Saturday nighter. PC Team Bass. I don't know what that is. That's out of Red 11. Saturday. No, Sunday. Sunday. No, Saturday. Saturday. And then Future Bass Sunday.
Hopefully, I have some birthday luck. I turn a year older on Friday. So,
Did I miss your birthday?
no, I turn a year older this coming Friday,
Oh, this coming Friday.
June 28th.
Huh. What are you going to be, 36? 35?
No,
Six?
you're spot on, buddy. You're spot on.
36. Man, my boat's 36. I don't want not quite.
Flown by. Time has flown by. You blink your eyes and it's gone.
Oh, you have no idea. Just you wait. You haven't hit 4.0 yet.
I've been thinking about it. I've been thinking about it all week because turning a year older has got me bothered this year a little bit. And the reason why it does, don't be shaking your head. You don't know what I'm fixing to say. The reason why it's got me bothered is because, you know, I can remember my dad being 36 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's just like, now I'm 36 years old. I cannot honestly tell you I can remember him being 35. I can remember him being 36, and I'm just kind of like, okay.
Next year is going to be a tough one for me. I'm already thinking about next year.
Is that 60? Yeah.
6-0.
Wow.
Yeah. My birthday came up this year and I realized it was 59. I'm like, dang. 6-0.
Yep. It's just, but my current situation, I can't complain. I'm fixing to turn 36. I got a couple of youngins that keep me and my wife pretty darn young, and we're having fun, and everything's kosher. So looking forward to another year older, I guess.
Oh, I forgot to tell you guys the whole Saturday night story.
Oh no.
So I go to back the trailer in. I back the trailer in, unload the boat, and I'm pulling up the park, and my freaking wheel is like this on my front driver's side, the one that I replaced last year at this time. And I'm like, do I load it back up or do I go fishing? Well, I went fishing.
You're already in the water.
I'm in the water. I'm like, that's what I said. I'm in the water. There's not going to be a lot of traffic at night, when I'm headed home. I'll just go slow. So I made it home, and that's what I did today. After I got the last room cleaned today, that's what I did today. I replaced the spindle hub on my boat trailer, which is really a pretty simple job. Actually, I'm not worried about it if it happens again, but they're not cheap.
Question for you, because this is the mechanic talking now, and this is actually a pretty decent tip. It's keep it simple, stupid. But I do it every single spring, and I don't know if it's right, wrong, or indifferent. But I do it every spring, and I do it every fall. So I know there is some Rangers that utilize oil bath hubs. Is your Ranger an oil bath hub?
Yes.
I would recommend that you switch that to grease. Go back old school. That's just me. I don't have anything necessarily that good to say about oil bath. But every spring, jack your trailer up, check your wheel bearings. All you got to do is kick your tire. If it's making a growling noise, get somebody or change it out yourself. And then every fall, couple squirts of grease before you put it away for the winter, and check for water.
Yep. Now my boat's 12 years old. And so I replaced one in April, and I replaced one just now. So, but supposedly they were all checked last year at this time when I replaced this one, and they were supposedly all checked in April. So I'm just going to start doing it myself.
Well,
Can't trust the freaking mechanic.
Once a year, jack that sucker up and spin them things. And if you got a growler, good rule of thumb is if you got one growler and you've changed them all at the same time, you probably ought to change them all. But
Yeah.
Majority of the time,
I thought about it, but so Ranger doesn't sell just the spindle. So I called Ranger first because I'm like, all I need is the brake, rotor, and the caliper is all there. The studs and all that are all there. All I need is the spindle that freaking bolts on, and then you slide I need the spindle and basically a hub service kit to repack the bearings.
So
they don't sell that. They don't sell that separately. It's all in one unit. The spindle, the rotor, everything is all one unit, and you cannot. I could have bought it separately from somebody other than Ranger, which I did, but when I buy it separately to buy the spindle and the hub service repair kit, it was like $380, and the whole unit where I just pull it out of the box and slide it on and bolt it on was $412.
Yeah.
So
you might as well get the whole shooting match because you're going to need it.
But it was $412, so I didn't want to do the other. Like I thought, man, I need to buy at least a spare, or maybe just do them all. But then it's like $412, so I got to do. I had to get it. If I'm going to do them all, I need to get two more because one was just done in April, and they did the same thing. So I really need to get two more and just do it. But I really didn't want to spend another $800. So I'll wait till it friggin'. Hopefully it won't do it again, but I'll just check it more regularly. And
once a year. I mean, you pull probably 10,000 miles a year. Check it once a year.
It was checked.
Well,
last June they were all checked, and last April and this April they were all checked.
It's easy for a mechanic to say he checked it.
Yeah. Well, I got billed for
allegedly.
it. I got
allegedly.
It's easy for money to fly out of your pocket and pay for it too.
Yeah.
So.
Anyway, so that's what I did, but at least I know I can do it now. I mean, and it really is. I I do like that system that this trailer has on it because it's 2 bolts. One bolt that goes on the axle and one bolt that the brake line go. You screw the brake line in. And that's it.
Yep.
It's kind of scary that one bolt holds that wheel on.
That's a torsion style axle, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. Skeeters are that way. Yep. Just do it right so it doesn't screw up when you're pulling it down I-44. You're good.
We'll find out if I did it right, I guess. I don't know how you can not do it right.
Cross
that
threads better than Loctite.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
And just make sure if you hook an ugga lug up, just give her an extra ugga lug.
Mm.
Man, he's helpful, isn't he?
Yeah. We'll just have you come down and do it next time.
I think so.
Anytime, buddy. Service calls cost you a fishing trip.
All right.
Well, that was pretty simple.
Yeah.
I,
Yeah, that's pretty easy.
I'll give you guys some more free advice as the closer to fall the podcast gets.
Okay. Cool.
Start doing some boat and care service tips once we get
Cool.
a bit closer to the cooler weather. Got some pretty good ideas in my head. So
Yeah, that's a good idea.
You know, I did receive a text the other morning. Viewer text, Richard Kiblinger, Kibby, for those that know Richard.
Know the guy real well. Took him fishing a couple times.
I don't know if we have time for this tonight. Maybe we could start it tonight. We could finish it another night. But basically what Richard suggested for a topic of discussion, and this isn't necessarily, due to forward-facing sonar. Not everything revolves around forward-facing sonar, but there could be, any number of reasons for the decline in the co-angler in all the draw events. He was talking about the Open at Eufaula. He was watching the same time I was, and 195 pros and 77 co-anglers. Well, that's kind of a disparity in numbers, and I know it's not just bass. It's BFL, it's MLF, it's as you guys have talked about, it's ABA.
I mean, it's at the local club levels the same way.
Yeah, I see a lot of guys that would go co-angler are now kayaking.
Well, I mean, that's kind of the comment that I was going to make about it, Danny, is I agree with Richard. The comment I was going to make is I wonder if has the number of boaters went up, though? Have those co-anglers stepped into a boat or a kayak or
I'm sure there's probably a percentage that have, yeah. That's like the cycles in your own club. Those younger guys get a little bit older and they get a boat, and then you need some new younger guys to be co-anglers.
And this kind of circles back to the conversation that we had in the podcast that accidentally got deleted. And you guys know it. You guys know what I'm fixing to say. Bass clubs, I hate it. I hate even saying it because it's the honest truth. bass clubs are not getting any younger.
Oh,
Bass clubs are a
you're
dying sport.
you are dead on. Absolutely.
The average age of our bass club right now is probably 55.
I would concur with that.
And 10 years ago, it was probably 45.
Mm-hmm.
So to Richard's point of where the co-anglers went, and in my opinion, I know a co-angler. I've known one hardcore co-angler for quite some time, and he doesn't choose to fish bass club style tournaments and things. He's always been one of those guys that fishes the bang for your buck. So he fishes the BFLs, he fishes the Costa series, and he's one hell of a co-angler.
Mm-hmm.
He's fished some ABA stuff, but not much, and he is absolutely one of the best co-anglers I've seen ever. And he's got a boat. He just recently got a boat, but most of the time he's fishing as a co-angler, But then there's guys that I've seen in our bass club that they draw out one guy. It took one guy for them not to come back, and that was it. So there's a guy that has been a co-angler in the bass club for 10 years. But there's also the co-anglers that they show up 2 or 3 tournaments and they draw one guy and they never come back. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't
That's
know.
unfortunate. And
I don't know the answer.
That's every club has that situation. Everyone that I've been around. I'm sure John probably could mirror that too. Do you think some of it is economics?
I don't know. I don't know, because I'm the boater that when the co-angler asks, "Hey man, what do I owe you for gas?" If I'm fishing on Big Hill or in an ABA or whatever, I'm like, dude, I was coming here anyhow. I just wanted to have a good time.
Right.
So I can't answer that. I don't know. I don't fish a lot of the bigger boater code. Even the BFL that I fished this spring, that the guy asked me what I wanted for gas money, this and that, and I said, I want a bite of that beef. I want a bite of that beef jerky that you brought that you put in a cooler. That's what I want. So
yeah.
I mean, that's who I am. If I'm fishing a tournament and it's a boater co-angler draw, 99.9% of the time, dude, I was going fishing anyhow. So I don't know if it's economics or not. As far as the guy getting there and how much the entry fee costs and all that, maybe. I don't know. It's a good question.
And it's one that I'm going to have to deal with in the next 60 days as the fill-in tournament director for KBN. We have our BNC qualifier in September. And yes, John, we went with your suggestion of not linking. But I don't know. Well, I actually entered today, registered, whatever, paid my entry for. I guess I'm going to be a non-boater since I'm running the thing. On the Fishing Chaos app, that was a breeze. That was very simple, but I'm only the third one entered. But, guys are notoriously that way. at least our group, they'll wait to the last possible second to enter. Okay, Moody. Maybe. If you're staying in Lucas, I will.
I agree with Evan Hartnett's post of boat prices are outrageous, because
Oh yeah.
I've been kind of under the radar in the market for a new one, and that 99 Champ that's sitting off to the right of me right now looks real pretty without a payment.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I'm ready for another boat. This boat here has been great, but I'm ready for another one. So I completely agree. And if Evan, if you're still listening, go Chiefs.
Poor John. But yeah, back to the what we were talking about. Something shiny. There we went.
Squirrel.
Squirrel. I don't know. It would be easy to use forward-facing sonar as a scapegoat.
Yes.
Not on the club level, and not on
But you wouldn't think on a club level.
I don't think so. I think on the. I think in the Bassmaster Opens, I think it absolutely has a lot to do with it. A lot. I wouldn't want to be a co-angler in an open and sit with the boat in the back of with the guy looking at fish in front of him and me not having a chance at all, unless I happen to draw somebody that's going to the bank. I wouldn't want to do that. I think in the bigger tournaments, that has a lot to do with it. In the smaller tournaments, in the clubs and the ABAs I think it has a lot to do with ego. Where a guy who has to have a boat thinks he can do better with a boat. I'm not going to fish, but there. And then how things are run. The nation changed all their stuff, and now they don't have to be a co-angler. You can be a boater and just go enter. There's not a 12-man team or a 20-person team where half of them are non-boaters automatically, period. End of story. When that changed, why do you need to be a non-boater? You don't.
Yeah, you talk about a screw up. I'm sorry, but that.
But honestly, it's and you're not wrong. I don't disagree with that at all. But it's also, you see the same thing with BFL and the what is it? Tackle Warehouse series and
the Costas.
All those
Toyotas or whatever they are. Yeah.
All those bigger tournaments. I would not enter a BFL as a co-angler on Grand Lake down here. Because chances are I'm going to draw a guy that's, whether he's good at it or not.
There's the key right there.
Whether he's good at it or not is going to try to do the forward-facing sonar to compete with everybody else, and I'm going to be the stuck in the back. I wouldn't do it.
And in my defense, I was still a cast away from the bank. So
you're still looking at the fish in front of you.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So, I mean, I think it has a lot to do with it, and it's how things are run. And it's just I think there's a lot of ego. I think there's a lot of, this is just like the ABA. Why would you want to be a co-angler in an ABA and have to compete against the boaters?
Got to pay the same entry fee, and you don't get to pick anything other than
When I found
you put
out,
on your rods.
when I went non-boater that one time, and I found out there wasn't a co-angler pot. Well, no wonder there's no co-anglers.
Yeah.
Have a
I didn't
co-angler.
realize that.
Have a co-angler pot, and you might get some co-anglers.
Yeah, I did not realize that. I
don't know if it's that way in all the ABA divisions, but it is at Big Hill.
No, it is. It is.
Why would you ever want to be a co-angler in an ABA? The only reason is because you don't have a boat and you just want to fish.
You're showing up that weekend because you don't have anything going on, and you're hoping that you draw somebody like us that's fun to go with. I mean,
And I don't even know if I'm that fun to go with, to be quite honest with you. I mean, I don't talk much until I catch number 5. I'm pretty dang quiet.
Boy, you take it way too daggum serious, then.
Oh,
we're out for blood, son.
Mister, that's hello pot, meet kettle.
I have a new sign for Kister whenever he gets a little too big for his britches.
Please do not feed the Sasquatch. If you only knew what a couple of buddies of mine called me around here, you'd laugh even harder about that statement.
Oh my. Interesting.
Nice, Evan. Nice.
It's what you're supposed to do while he's winging.
I was talking about the Go Cubs Go.
Oh, I don't care about baseball. I quit watching when the Royals finally won.
Although they are the worst team in the baseball right now, so I'm not really too high on them.
Bobby Cox and the Atlanta Braves back in the day on TV was the deal. But hey, I got a question for you guys.
Okay.
We're an hour and 37 minutes, 37 seconds in. It's time time for a little just questionnaire?
Sure. Let her fly.
Where do you purchase your tackle at?
I got a story about that from today. I wasn't buying tackle, but I was trying to buy that arm that I broke on my active target I was telling you about at Big Hill. I'm like, after about 3-4 trips of it just hanging there, and I'm like, I can't even try to use it until I get this fixed. So I better get it fixed. So I Google it, what I need, and I can't find just the one little bracket that I need. But they have trolling motor mount kits that have all the parts, and they're like,
I'll bring the dadgum parts, John. I got parts here.
They're like $40.
Well, save you $40.
And too late. So I figure I'm going to order. So I order it from Shields. Hit place order. Thank you for your order. I get an email like 30 seconds later that says your order's been canceled.
Ha ha.
Due to some kind of processing, whatever. So then I see a charge on my card for the amount to Shields. So I call them and I'm like, I place this order. 30 seconds later, get an email that says, no, let me rephrase that. It was canceled. So I'm like, well, screw you, Shields. So I order it from Tackle Warehouse, and it's on the way. And so then I call Shields, and I'm like, I ordered this. 30 seconds later, I get your order's canceled, but then I get a notice that my card's been charged. Is it canceled or is it not? And the lady's like, oh, yeah, it was canceled. I see your card's pending, but I can resubmit it. And I'm like, no, I do not resubmit it. I've ordered it from somebody else because you all canceled my order. And she's like, okay. Like 30 minutes later, I get an email from Shields that says your order's on the way. So I call them back, and I'm like, no, y'all had your chance. Please cancel, refund my card. It's on the way from Tackle Warehouse. That's where I get most of my tackle is Tackle Warehouse.
Why?
Because they have it, because it's quick, and because I usually get it within like 2 days.
So you go off of availability and convenience?
Yes. They pretty much have everything. I don't recall them ever not having something I needed.
You're not shopping at Tackle Warehouse because you've got this secret bait that you can't stand that somebody sees when you're at checkout. You're shopping at Tackle Warehouse because it's a click of the.
I don't have any secret baits.
Hey, just wait till it circles around here.
Oh my!
You're shopping at Tackle Warehouse because it's a click away. They take credit cards and they got everything in stock.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
I mean, if I have a secret bait, I order it direct from that company.
All right.
Like my tubes. I order my tubes direct from the tube company.
Well, good for you, because the company that I used to get my tubes from don't make them anymore. So
I know. That's disgusting. I even tried to get someone that we all know very well to buy that company because he's good at buying companies, and they never really reached any kind of agreement to sell it to him.
Interesting.
You know, that company
That's
that
my answer. Danny?
KistlerRods.com. That's where I buy everything.
oh wow,
No.
that's outstanding.
No.
One-stop shop.
A little bit everywhere. I hate to admit this, but I've bought tackle off Amazon.
I have to.
Buy some through Tackle Warehouse, some direct. But you know, I still want to go out and pick it up off the shelf and look at it too. Not everything is okay. 99% of what I buy is online off one of those places, but I still like to go out and look at it and smell all the plastics. And
That's what I was talking about.
mm-hmm.
I mean, I'll buy some stuff from Honey Creek, but it costs more. And I like to support my local people, but I mean, when it's $2 a pack more than I can get it for, I mean, when you're ordering $100 worth of stuff, that adds up.
Yeah.
You know, and
Yeah.
if it's spur of the moment and I know I can't get it here from Tackle Warehouse by the time I need it Saturday, I'll run down to Honey Creek or the sports shop, but they don't always have. Their selection is what it is. I've shopped there enough. I kind of know what they have, what I think I can. Like if I think they have it, I may not order it from Tackle Warehouse and run down and get it just to support them. But they don't have a lot of the stuff that I'm getting.
So I'm completely the opposite of you guys on tackle shopping. It's local all the way for me, and I haven't ordered from Tackle Warehouse in over a year. I just haven't. Bud's Bait in Joplin, they're kind of a wholesaler, and they're really convenient for me. They're like 4 blocks away from where I work.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
It's the same thing, though. It's the same thing, though. Why? Because I don't have anything. If I could drive to Joplin, but it's 45 minutes to an hour.
Well, unfortunately, what I was going to say is that, Bud's Bait of Joplin is family owned. They have a tackle shop in Joplin. They got one in Carthage. They are kind of a wholesaler. They actually sell tackle to Roseanne at Albers Marine. And he sells minnows and goldfish and all that stuff too, but he's got crappie, bass, catfish, kayaks for sale, yada, yada, yada. Every Thursday, I'm in there on my lunch break buying something. And it's just like Bass Pro. You walk out, little bitty, teeny tiny plastic sack full of stuff. It's $100. It's just as easy as a click of a mouse to go in there and spend $100.
Yeah.
But I will say this about Bud's Bait is, he's got a points program. If you spend a certain amount of money in there, he gives you a break, a little discount. But it's a local guy, I'm not feeding the man. And so it's kind of cool. And then, if I'm buying something secretive and I don't want the guys at Bud's Bait to yell across the aisle to somebody that I know in there, then I sneak into Academy, and they're only 2 blocks away. And Academy shelves kind of suck because the guy they got running their fishing tackle back there can't hit reorder apparently on his little iPad. And I had a discussion with him last Thursday because they didn't have any green pumpkin brush hogs. Now, who doesn't have a green pumpkin brush hog right now? Come on. Hit reorder. I don't care if it says you got 2 packs on the peg or not. You don't. I proved it because I pointed right at them. Reorder them. So Albers Marine actually has a bunch of tackle also. A lot of people may not even know that. When you walk into the front door, Albers Marine, it's a miniature tackle shop up there. They've got everything from Mega Bass jerkbaits to Fitzwater custom lures, footballs, swim jig, flip jigs, all different colors. They've got Zoom. They've got all the popular brands of plastics, spinner baits, chatter baits, swim jig, swim bait, and just if you want to tie it on, you can throw it, go to Albers. They've got it. They support all our local tournament circuits around here. They give gift cards away all the time.
True.
I'm a local tackle shop kind of guy. I like to open the package and sniff the garlic. And that, just that in itself brings back better memories than clicking a mouse on a computer. And I really don't like feeding the corporate man.
Yeah, you got to have a good one. When I lived in Alabama, I didn't order anything online when I lived in Alabama because I go to Mark's Outdoors or Simmons Outdoors, and they had everything you need. Everything.
I walked into Scottsboro, the Scottsboro tackle shop up there when I was down there, and just my jaw hit the floor. I was slobbering.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it.
I mean, you gotta have a place like that to support. And like I said, I try to support Honey Creek and the sports center downtown, but they just don't have what I'm looking for a lot of times.
Well, and with that said, you're 100% correct, and here's why. It's because fishing tackle is freaking expensive, and it would take $3 million worth of inventory to make 100,000 selling it. You know,
Mhm.
and that's the daggum truth about it. And Bates tackle is so trendy, and you don't have the green pumpkin with the red flake in it, so I'm not going to buy any of them at all kind of mentality. If everybody was colorblind like I am and didn't give a crap, you either have black and blue or you have green pumpkin of some sort.
I mean, that's all I have in my boat. Is green.
And that's it. It's a done
I'm not
deal.
colorblind.
So,
Next question. Next question. What else you got?
hey, I just, and honestly, the next thing is with all that tackle that you guys are loading up in your boats and buying, either one of you guys working on a new technique that you're trying to get better at?
Yes.
I mean, if you consider
watermelon candy. Yeah, we got to have watermelon candy too, Evan.
no,
Hell yes.
no watermelon. I mean, green pumpkin. I can't catch a fish on watermelon. Never have my entire life. You would think there's not much difference between green pumpkin and watermelon, but it's all up here. It's all in your head, and I cannot catch a fish on anything watermelon. My daughter was in Bass Pro the other day, before she came over for Father's Day, and she gets a discount. So she's like, "You need anything?" And I'm like, "I need some green pumpkin, black flick, Cinco's, and I need some, green pumpkin, purple Cinco's." And so she calls me and she's like, "Got this? It says watermelon." I'm like, "No watermelon, no watermelon. It's got to be green pumpkin." And then so she brings me, and it's got to be a certain size. And she brings me one package of the correct stuff and 2 packages of the wrong stuff, and I'll probably never throw them. But anyway, where were we? What was the
new technique you're working on?
Trying to get better at.
I would say the new technique that I'm trying to get better at is forward-facing sonar. I mean, I have it, and I would not mind learning it well enough that it could be a tool if I absolutely needed it. That's the one thing I'm working on, probably. Relearning the Carolina rig.
Cool. Danny?
Oh, I don't want to say this out loud because now we're going to have to revisit that whole Herman family podcast.
Oh, the old
glide baits, swim bait, the big swim baits, glide baits. I've caught fish on them, but Kyle, I'm like you. Man, it looks so good in the water. And you're just like, how is a fish not eating this damn thing? But yeah, I need to get out with someone that throws them with success and see what I'm doing wrong. Maybe it's a timing thing.
Oh, you got to go somewhere where, you need to go out to like Cedar Bluff. Yeah, where you know there's a bunch of fish and you're going to catch
Yeah.
a bunch of fish,
Yeah.
and just or a farm pond that's got a chock full of fish. You know, you need to. That's how you learn.
Yeah.
My favorite place to learn stuff like that is those. You know, go to these little lakes, county lakes. Like I love going up to the lakes around where Brett lives in Iowa, because nobody fishes. Nobody. And they got like city lakes and county lakes like Kansas has, and they're chock full of bass. Good bass. That's a fun place to learn new
Sounds
stuff.
like a road trip.
Speaking of road trips, I would love to go on a road trip sometime next month. I'd love to, if I could find a couple guys to go, I would love to go up to Minnesota.
I know a group of guys that just got back from Mille Lacs. They just got back last week, and they said that Mille Lacs, Wisconsin, every June is where they're going from now on out. They used to go to Fork, and the last couple of years they've been to Mille Lacs every June, and the smallmouth just wear you out.
I mean, you don't have to go to Mille Lacs.
Drop shot in a Ned rig.
My favorite place to fish in America is Minnesota. Of all the places I've been, and I've fished the St. Lawrence, and I love the St. Lawrence. It's number 2, but Minnesota is hands down my favorite place in America to go fish.
You know, I'm kind of on board with that whole July thing, because there ain't much going on in July, and
There's not. We're pretty slow here, and if we can get a group to go, I would like to probably go like I was thinking, leave on a Monday or Tuesday and come back on fish Monday, leave on a Monday, Tuesday, get up there. It's a day drive up to Mille Lacs, the Mille Lacs area.
yeah, it's 11 hours or something, I think.
Yeah, so leave on a Monday, fish Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, come back on like a Wednesday, like a one weekend. So you're taking one weekend, but leaving like midweek and coming back the next midweek. That's how I'd like to do it, just because if I'm going to do it and have approval, I probably need to not miss too many weekends. So one weekend would be good. But I know some folks that I believe have cabins and stuff up there around Mille Lacs, in the area.
I'll be right back.
And but all those little lakes up there, if we were up there for 7 or 8 days, we could fish 1 or 2 different lakes every day and not hit the same one twice. And they all have fish in them.
That would be a good time.
Yeah. That Brent Malone, the guy that runs the tourism down here, he goes up in May with a bunch of guys. And he started talking about lakes that they go to, these little lakes. and he starts naming them off, and it's the same area and some of the same lakes that are my favorite. And he was like, "Oh yeah, this lake," and I'm like, "Oh, I've been there." This lake, oh yeah, I've been there, and it
Cool.
is fun. You can catch smallmouth, largemouth. Awesome.
Hey, Jack Graves, world traveler. Well, that sounds outstanding to Dano. I would probably be out this summer, mainly because granddaughter number 3 arrives in July.
Yeah.
But that does sound like a good time. That
You
sounds
know,
like a really good time.
just so you guys are well aware, that is Kyle's master plan in the future with Max George, my 6-year-old. He's we're fortunate enough our schedule's pretty free in the summer for the most part. As tournament anglers, we fish spring and fall events, and that's about it, kind of deal here and there. But in the summertime, we're going to load up and we're going to start traveling around because I'm a pretty sheltered angler. I don't get to branch out as much as I'd like to, and there's a lot of places that I want to go. You know, I'd like to go to Fork. I'd like to go to Mille Lacs. I'd like to go to wherever. And so Mom's going to get a new car that's capable of putting a little generator and a little HVAC unit in the back, and we're going to hook up to the boat and say, "Peace out, gals. We're out for the 3 or 4 or 5 days, and we'll see where the road takes us." But that's the plan for sure.
Yep, that'll be fun.
So
Yeah, I had the good fortune of going to Canada twice with my dad.
that would be
That was
cool.
a blast. It was,
That would be very cool.
oh yeah.
I had a buddy that went up there every year, and always wanted me to go, and I never went, but he would always talk about how great it was. But then when I fished Minnesota, I'm like, I don't know why you need to go clear into Canada.
Yeah, why do you? Yeah, no kidding.
It's friggin' awesome.
You know, the redneck in me wants to admit, oh yeah, it'd be great to catch the crap out of the smallmouth and this and that. But I'll be honest with you, I like to eat, and I'd just soon catch walleye.
Yeah.
The walleye are bigger here though.
Well, they're just not as plentiful. It doesn't seem like, you know. So
Well, now wait a minute. You caught like 165 out there off that one point at Big Hill.
yeah, and they got all those Ziploc baggies in the freezer are already thawed out and fried. They're gone.
So
Well, who's gonna
Colin, I
win?
guess this Saturday I'll get to see you for a minute, maybe.
Yeah,
Okay.
probably. I don't know. What time's your tournament over?
I think we got to be weighed in, or we have to be checked in by 1, and or no, sorry, we stopped fishing at 1. We have to be at the weigh trailer by 2.
Oh yeah, you guys trailer.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll probably see you because I probably won't go down to the ramp till 6 o'clock.
Cool.
But who's gonna win the elite?
Gerald Swindle.
We'll take our. This will be our pundits picks.
Gerald Swindle.
Oh my.
Swindle, huh?
Gerald Swindle. My dark horse is probably going to be It's a toss-up. I actually think Paul Mueller is going to have a good shot at it. I like what he likes to do as an angler. I think he's pretty smart. So that's my picks.
Okay.
Brandon.
Okay. You got a dark horse or a second pick? We'll give you, since Kyle picked 2, we'll let you pick 2.
G-Man is due. It's been a while.
I mean, he originally was from Warrior, Alabama.
It has been a while.
I don't know I don't even want to get into that if it's a health issue or not a health issue, but is it a knee pain issue?
No, he's got too much drive.
Yeah, that's my dark horse. G-Man. Jack Graves says G-Man's going to win it.
Okay.
I picked Brandon just because he's just always right close to the top, it seems. With picking up, going to make the northern swing, I see him starting to come on.
John, can I pick your 2 anglers?
Go ahead.
The young guy that won the Classic, and Taku Ito. Justin Hamner and Taku Ito for dark horse.
No. Missed.
Okay, let's hear it.
Jordan Lee.
Yeah.
Because he's pissed.
What's he mad about?
Because he finished 92nd at Wheeler.
Oh, okay.
Is he seriously going back to MLF?
Who? Jordan?
Yeah.
No.
I didn't think so. I saw a TikTok or something. They said he was going back to MLF.
He's pissed at those guys. Didn't you see what happened in the
Oh, yeah.
heavy hitters or whatever that was?
Fake news.
No, he ain't going back there.
No, find your own fish. His apparel company says it all.
Yeah.
Find your own fish.
Yeah. Dark horse is Will Davis.
Ooh.
Will Davis Jr. Alabama
Good choice.
boys. Both of them.
Jordan Lee might be the dark horse, and Will Davis. One of those two is going to win it.
Well, if anything, any one of them picks, I think, would be all right. So,
yeah.
I agree.
I have a tendency to root for the underdogs. You know, kind of, I don't know, just like the Opens. When Jim Moyna was leading it after day 1 with 19 pounds, I thought,
wow.
I mean, he hadn't won a dime in I don't know how long, so why not?
Since I have.
I was rooting for Ty Faber. I don't know if y'all know Ty.
He's from Colorado, isn't he?
He is from Colorado. He's from in the mountains in Colorado. And the dude fishes all the time. But he don't have any sponsor. I mean, you didn't see it. He didn't wear a jersey. He didn't have any sponsors. He's a plumber, but he must own his – I mean, I know him, but I thought he was a plumber, but he must own the company, I guess. But he fishes all the time. Like he'll fish the Wyoming Nation if they'll let him. He'll fish the New Mexico Nation. if they'll let him to Colorado. You know, he fishes the opens and he fishes the team series stuff. And that's, you know, I met him through the nation. Him and his dad fished a lot of the team stuff. And his dad was a high school golf coach, just down to earth folks. And I was kind of pulling for Ty.
Oh, Chad Schmidt says Seth Fighter.
Spider-Man, Llama.
Yeah, I don't know about that one. I'd like to see him, but
Maybe not this week.
I don't.
Any of the next ones.
I tell you, if
I mean,
Ishmael
it's definitely gonna be forward facing sonar. Definitely no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I'll be shocked if it's not.
I hope it's one out of the dirt. If there's any dirty water to be had on Smith Lake in Alabama, I hope they find it and I hope they catch it.
I mean, John Conks will find it, but I don't see it.
I like the going against the grind deal. This year's been kind of going against the mainstream, and maybe they'll keep that trend up. We'll see.
Maybe. That'd be cool. That'd be good.
I mean, Wheeler Lake was a surprise to me. You know, you figure they're going to be out on ledges, spotlighting them or whatever you guys say, and then they start showing the live, and the next thing you know, John Cruz is catching them on a spook in 6 inches of water, and John Cox is catching them on a frog in 6 inches of water. So I thought that was pretty daggum neat.
Yeah.
Well, what do you think, Danny? 2 hours, 11 minutes.
Well, we actually have not had that awkward moment of silence yet in 2 hours and 11 minutes. And I haven't even started drinking beer yet. So
I think we're getting a little bit better as far as communication skills go.
You know, I thought, well, you know, Kevin's going to come on tonight. We couldn't get him last week, and so we'll get the story and the lowdown tonight.
Maybe we'll have him next week. I don't know.
But and that's cool, you know, whatever. But I thought, oh shoot, he's not going to be here. What are we going to talk about? Well, we talked about nothing for 2 hours and 13 minutes so far.
Yep.
Well, I got news for y'all. If we can't get the special guest on locked in, you know, maybe after this weekend, I might have a special guest here sitting in the shop with me, and we might have something special to talk about. So
That'd be good.
Looking forward to it.
Awesome. Very cool. But just to clarify, Kyle, no, yesterday was not the last day to sign up for the team series. And I'm sorry I jumped all over that and changed the subject. Actually, we're just getting going, signing up with team series.
I don't know what I'm going to have to retrace my steps and see and look back at what I actually saw. I don't know. Maybe I was just confused. It's all good.
There's still plenty of time.
There's still plenty of time. That's good to hear. I hope
you and Mac get Mac to come fish.
Yeah, I mean, and for those that are up north and haven't signed up yet, I mean, I'm signed up. So don't talk to me about driving far.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, Wilson is a long ways for me.
Yeah.
It's almost an hour and 15 minutes.
It's only 5 hours from here.
Well,
it's not even Western Kansas.
my place of employment is revamping our vacation schedule, and they've got things messed up right now. So I will take a deeper dive into it and see what I can do.
Okay.
All right.
So, teaser, folks. Next week, we're going to try once again to get Kevin Rich to come on. And that's probably just a work-related issue.
Yeah.
He had the same issue last week, got called back to work, and hey, we know how that works. We know, we've been there and done that. One Bigfoot reference tonight, no UFO reference. I'm sorry.
I am just going to go ahead and put it out there. I will have somebody sitting next to me next week.
Okay.
Okay.
JIC. For those of you that aren't good with abbreviations, that's just in case.
You could be in the military. You could.
Colorblind left-handed, Danny. Can't. Sorry.
Oh yeah, you'd be an officer.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Same bat time, same bat channel, 1700.
Yeah. Wow. It's dark out. It's time for me to go to bed.
That's when it starts getting good.
Yeah. My problem is I'm a night owl and an early bird. Yeah. Yeah. Excited about it. Good luck with that.
I'd like to stay up late and drink coffee.
Dude, I've been getting up at like 4:15, 4:30 in the morning the last couple weeks.
John,
I just wake up and I can't go back to sleep, so I just get up.
John, I hope you got plenty of receptacles in the rooms, because Moody likes to bring fans and coffee makers.
We have a coffee maker in the room.
And, well, that's not good enough, because
it's not big enough.
He grinds his own coffee, and he wakes up at like 3:45 in the morning, and the next thing you know, you're up at 3:45 in the morning joining him. So
it's not a dang Keurig. It's a regular coffee maker.
Thank goodness, because I cannot stand those nasty K-cup crap thingies. Anyhow,
you have to bring your own coffee.
But that's not a problem. It's got like Colombian contraband.
I mean, we've got some
gallon Ziploc baggies.
We've got some if you absolutely need it, but
Colombian contraband?
No.
Oh,
coffee.
Oh dear. Okay, we better end this thing and get out of here. Folks at home, thanks for watching, and we appreciate each and every one of you that share the live and comment, especially Evan. Oh, Evan is offering, Kyle.
I saw that. I've been checking the comments. We'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah. And then if you win the points, you go to Louisiana in December. That's pretty awesome. Louisiana.
Monroe.
That's Monroe. I was corrected.
West Monroe.
Mm-hmm.
I might even go early and blow a duck call as I'm going through town, see if I can't get somebody from Duck Commander to sign my duck call.
I guarantee you can.
Oh.
I wouldn't mind fishing that.
That'd be a good time, I think.
Is that the Delta
River?
What is it?
Washita River.
Oh, okay.
And while you're in West Monroe, you got to go to Traps. Traps, right on the river.
Yep.
I got some food porn for you, Kister. I'm gonna send you a picture of
Or-
seafood nachos.
Or the place, or the crawfish place, right there at the corner
Oh yeah, yeah,
by the boat
Definitely.
ramp.
yes, absolutely. See, there we go. Something shiny. We're 220. This is 2 whole shows.
All right.
Folks at home, thanks for watching. This has been the Idle Zone Syndicate, and I didn't do it that time, Kister. Are we Wednesday night next week, John?
Yeah.
Okay. Wednesday night.
What date is that's the isn't that
Third.
the third? That's the third.
July 3rd, day before the fireworks.
I'm good. I think fireworks start July 3rd down here.
Yeah.
Fireworks for rednecks. Fireworks start this Saturday, and they don't stop until July 5th.
That's how it is here.
Same here and not Mutchinson. All right, guys. Peace and chicken grease. Until next week.
Peace.
Have a good time. There we are. Wow.
It says you're still live.
In stream.